30 hours on a boat. I don't even like boats. I cannot tell you how much I just want to get into my hotel room and rot. The views outside the window and from the top deck have been spectacular.
Oh my god, this outfit is not giving anything.
Oh, this ham and cheese sandwich is so spicy. Let's get some photos, shall we? As they say, every great adventure should start with an outfit of the day. So today, including sporting a super puffy morning face, I'm wearing a very practical and comfy outfit for 11 hours of driving. A simple black t-shirt paired with Puma tracksuit bottoms and my Steve Madden sock shoes. Flying back from the UK to Spain, I will be travelling with British Airways, and I didn't know this, but they actually include an overhead cabin bag in their flight price, which I was quite surprised about, but also very thankful for. So I decided to take 2 bags this time, as I will be collecting a few bits in the UK to bring back with me. My backpack is an imitation leather satchel with side pockets. My duffel bag is a large black-on-black monochrome River Island bag, which I have had for years at this point and has never done me wrong. Currently, it is 8 AM in the morning and I can't waste any more time, so let's jump right in the car. So I am on my way. I've just stopped quickly so that I can actually make sure that I have everything on my sat nav that I need to, because it's quite exciting, although a little bit scary because I have not driven this long before. That's not true. Actually, driving to Spain was the first time that I ever drove this long. Sorry, I have something in my bag down here. There she is. A little energy drink just to keep me going. So, how exciting. I am a little bit apprehensive because I've never driven for like 10 hours straight by myself. I've always like split it up into little things, but I'm kind of on a time limit today. So I am driving from Malaga to Santander, and that is around 10 hours, kind of like splitting it up into sensible chunks. And I'm thinking I'm going to stop at some petrol stations. And I recently saw a photographer on Instagram, because that's where I spend most of my time looking at photography. And they had this beautiful series of pictures of petrol stations. And I know that sounds a little bit bonkers, but I've got my Fujifilm with me. Gosh, it's busy here. A school run. Oh, she's giving me evils. Okay, well, it's not my fault, sis. Right, let's drive away instead of disrupting the school run, shall we? So yes, I have never driven quite this far before by myself, and I think I'm going to split it up into little chunks and just kind of stop and take photos of things that I like the look of, bearing in mind that I kind of want a series of nice photos of petrol stations. Quite an unsung feat of engineering, like petrol stations. Everyone is probably looking at me like, this crazy English woman can't drive. It's like, I can. I'm just on the wrong side, so it makes things harder to see when I'm pulling out into roads. Oh, the little fly. Goodbye, little fly. Goodbye. So part of the reason why I am driving back to the UK is that I have to get rid of this car that I'm in. This is a Citroen Cactus, a Citroen C4 Cactus in black. And when it was first released, I thought, oh, what an ugly car that is. How foul is that? And it actually started growing on me. So I was like, do you know what? Yes! And I got this car in 2022, and I can't tell you how happy I was when I first got it, because it really gave me access to places outside of London. Obviously, being in London for so many years, I just kind of relied on public transport for most of it. But then, since the lockdowns, I started spending a lot more time outside of London, and I really liked it. And I felt like it's hard to leave London when you're in London, especially having to rely on UK like trains and transport networks, which are constantly cancelled. Any of my UK siblings will know this, because it's almost like a joke at how fast things can be perfectly fine and then completely chaotic and cancelled. So I ended up getting this car, and she has done so well at taking me all over the country, taking me to see friends, taking me on wonderful little adventures with Biscuit. And of course, she actually helped us move to Spain. And the major reason of taking the car instead of flying down to Spain, to where we live now, was because we have Biscuit. And and I didn't want to put Biscuit in the cargo of a flight because from the UK, they've got really strange like rules about how you can travel with pets on planes. So that's why I now essentially have to drive my car back to the UK because they can only stay in Spain. UK cars can only stay in Spain for 6 months, I believe. And I think I'm just at the end of month 4. And I was like, you know what? I've got some time. Let's book a trip back to the UK so I can take my car and sell it in the UK. I've just bought a new car in Spain. So this is intending to be like a permanent move now. I always feel like when you buy a big thing like a car, it's like, right, okay, this is going to be a few years now at least. So yeah, that's my reasoning about that. Gosh, how exciting. Right, that lady was going to hit me in her car. Oh no. Right, here we go. I've just stopped outside of Malaga at my first petrol station. This is what she looks like. I think there's something to be said about this framing here. Like that could be quite a cute little picture, but I want to make some good time, so I'm not going to spend a long time sitting here framing up. I think I want to treat this more as street photography. I just really like this like line and frame. I think there's just something to be said about that. Can't just sit here doing photography all day. I'll get nothing done. I actually, in fact, just bought some screen wash and put screen wash in my car because she's what? A DIY queen. Now, is it going to work? I don't know where my button is. Hang on, there it is. A lovely, fresh, clean screen. Oh, I hope I've bought the correct liquid and not just made my life severely difficult. Well, she's a bit smeary. Although you can see out perfectly, so that's kind of what matters most, I think.
That is not correct.
So, I have just arrived. Can I put this here? There we go. Oh no! So I've just arrived at the next petrol station. I'm making really good time, actually. I think I'm about 2 hours into this journey. And you know what? I'm actually enjoying the road trip, which is something I didn't think I would say. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm listening to Lady Gaga at maximum volume and just admiring the beautiful mountain ranges that I'm driving through. So this petrol station here, let's have a look-see. This petrol station is called Tangerina. Oh no, it's a Galp. And these little signs like this, these signs here, are so American. Really reminds me of San Francisco when I was there last year. Oh, absolutely covered in crisps. So I have been eating these on my little road trip so far. This is Ruffles Saba e yo queso tostamista. And I'm actually really surprised because this does in fact taste like this, which is like a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. They're vegetarian and they're really quite tasty. They've got a little bit of like spice in them. I know how like exceptionally white woman that is to be like, oh, this ham and cheese sandwich is so spicy. But there is like a heat, like a hot cheese in your local area.
How vile.
We have arrived at the next petrol station. I am somewhere between Jaén and Madrid. There she is, the little Repsol station. I look to be at my hotel tonight around about 7 o'clock, which is perfect. I sort of factored in that I'd be stopping for like bathroom breaks and for food breaks. So if I get there anytime between 7 and 8 p.m, I'll be really happy. And then I can check in and have a lovely night's rest before my boat tomorrow. 30 hours on a boat. I don't even like boats. Next to a 5G tower. Oh no. I really like being able to see this little petrol station sign, symbol and roof here, because in comparison to this mountain, look at the scale difference. Even this truck looks tiny. Hello, it's me again, just in the car. In a severely interesting turn of events. This is the last petrol station I will stop at before I have to fill up the car. I believe I'm just coming up to Madrid now, and there's a stretch on this motorway without any surface stations for a very long time. So I'm in a predicament. Do I fill up now and drive 2 hours to the next place, or there's a little place 30 minutes up the road, but it means that I won't be quite at where I want to be to fill up my car? Road trip worries, isn't that lovely? Anyhow, in case you're interested in the type of petrol station I am at, this is a Shell, and I think I'm gonna go park a little way away in order to get some good vantage point. I love the lines, like, petrol stations are such strange design when you look at them. So I'm just on my iPhone. I've arrived to this BP in the middle of nowhere. And I feel a little bit nervous, not gonna lie. I have to fill up my car with petrol though, and I kind of need to do it. So let's start, I guess. But my goodness me, this little BP in the middle of nowhere here gave me a bit of a spook at first. I think this is the first time in my journey, I apologise, there's so much wind here, that I felt a little bit like I'm highly aware that I'm travelling by myself in my car, stopping at places in the middle of nowhere. But this lovely little lady behind the shopkeep made me feel so much safer, so much nicer. And my broken Spanish and her little broken English, I don't know, we just had a little moment and it was lovely. I am about half an hour from Madrid, and I think Madrid is going to be the long part to get through. I can feel that my zest for a road trip has gone down. I feel my adrenaline was really high this morning and now it's like so I cannot wait to get to my hotel. I feel ropey, I look a bit ropey. The outfit is not really serving much. What did I do that for? Once again, you join me on this beautiful day at a petrol station. How surprising. This is a Cepsa, and I love the red against the blue of the sky, so I think this is going to be an excellent shot. I've actually just got myself a nice box of cookies as well, because I think my sugar levels are going down and my interest in continuing driving is, what's the word? Waning. Waning, like, not like this sunshine actually. This sunshine is gorgeous. Right, let's get some photos, shall we? So I am at that difficult stage of my journey. I'm finishing it in about 15 minutes, which I'm so excited about. I cannot tell you how much I just want to get into my hotel room and rot. Unfortunately, also quite hungry, and I don't think that the hotel I have does room service or even has a restaurant. So I'm at that difficult question. Do I check into my hotel, take all my stuff upstairs, then go get food? Or do I go get food, then go and check into my hotel where I don't ever have to leave again until tomorrow morning. My brain is saying, go get food first, then go and sit in your room and just watch Severance and relax. You know, take the weight off your wig. But I would quite like to go in and just like get all my stuff inside and then go and find food. But I know that if I do that, I'm not going to want to leave my room. So, oh, questions, girly wigs. I feel a little bit like that meme, the one where they're always at a wedding or something and they're filming people and someone's like, hello, my name's Emily and this is me after my first drink. And then it cuts later on and it's like, oh, Emily, I've had 17 gallons of vodka, girl. That's what I feel like currently. I was fresh as a daisy. Now I'm compost. If I see something easy, I'm thinking Burger King, because Burger King do, I know it's fast food, but they do like a vegetarian, I can't even remember what it's called, like vegetarian King Whopper? Is it a Whopper? Is that what they do? Whoppers? Whopper at Burger King? Sushi in Manhattan? So I think if I see one on the way, I'll go and grab a vegetarian whoopsie doopsie and I'll nibble that like a little gremlin in my boudoir. But if I don't see one, I'll go and check in first and then go and hunt for one. Should I do that? I think I should probably do that, shouldn't I? Unfortunately, as I approached my hotel, I had absolutely no idea that the free on-site parking advertised by Expedia would in fact be an underground car park consisting of about 6 spaces for what would turn out to be quite a large hotel. I found this quite surprising. I ended up staying at Hotel Bed for You, which had apparently changed ownership before my stay, and it was now in fact an Ibis hotel with a small cafe. Well, sadly, no parking, as you've just seen, so I've parked a few roads over, which isn't the best, because I like to be able to see where my car is. Now, it is a short 6-minute walk to the front door of my room. Hopefully I can just check in and get some rest. I ended up not going to Burger King. I didn't see one on the way, so I thought I'll just park up, sort my room out, and then get in. But no, not quite as easy as that, sadly. But that is what life is about sometimes. Life is about the challenge, so to speak. But it was only €62, which I think is a great bargain for a one-night stay. After checking in and getting my key, I was so excited to get to my room and be doing absolutely nothing. All right, let's have a first impressions for the little room that I have. So, as it is just going to be one night, I just went for a standard room, a standard double. What's this here, in here?
A bomb.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, oh no, can a burglar come in? Lovely big mirror for me to do some glam in the morning for my boat ride, which will be 30 hours. Can you believe it? I am haggard and I need some food. The shower looks lovely, although, well, I don't know, if you were sharing as a couple, if you were friends, you'd be like, don't come past here, don't come past here, mummy's in the naked. Bountiful penis. This is quite sweet, isn't it? A nice little bijou moment. I can make telephone calls. Hello, yes, whose pussy is this? I hope no one picked up then. Lovely TV right next to the boudoir. Let me, right, let me think about what I need to do. In total, it took me 11 hours to get here because I stopped a few times along the way. It seems quiet in this hotel. It's nice and clean. It's not labelled correctly and the parking is difficult, should we say. This is actually the Ibis Styles now, it's called. But on the map and on Expedia, which is who I booked it through, it's called Bed for You, which I was just like, do you know what? 3-star hotel, one night, that's fine. I'm not going on holiday, exactly. Overall, so far, beautiful. It's very well organised. It'll be lovely for me for one night. And it's about the size of my Wembley apartment. Hooray!
I am so happy they provided a toothbrush kit in the room because I forgot in my chaos. Oh my god, this outfit is not giving anything. What's it giving? It's giving messy woman. The realities of a YouTuber on the go. Right, my face is a state, so I'm gonna stay in my room and order something to eat. Hooray.
Connoisseur Christmas pudding, packed with plump sultanas and steeped in...
I left my wallet in my car, which means I can't order food because I don't know my card numbers off by heart. So I have to make the trip back to the car to get some food. My brain has logged out. Wallet has been retrieved, and now I'm gonna wait for my Burger King to arrive because I have ordered it, and then I'm gonna rot in bed and I can't wait.
I have just used this to brush my teeth with. This is toothpaste gel, and I am all for trying new things, but this literally felt like I was brushing my teeth with soap. Like, it's a gel. It was such a strange experience. Unpleasant.
Well, my Burger King arrived and I was planning on doing a mukbang, but after all the traveling today, I'm just gonna eat my food and call it a night. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning. I think it is time to get up. So it is the morning after the night before. Last night I was just so ready for bed. So ready for bed. It was unbelievable. Bed, lovely. The room, great, considering I think I paid 60 euros for this. So I'm very happy to just have a nice little place to rest my head before I continue my journey today. I have to get on a boat for 30 hours. I know I've mentioned this multiple times, but I'm just not prepared for a 30-hour ferry ride. I will be checking out in, I think, just over an hour, and I need to find a way of procuring a morning coffee, I think. I think that will get me right on track. A morning coffee and perhaps like a pastry of some sort, perhaps a pain au chocolat or something like that. There were no facilities for coffee in this room for a morning coffee, sadly. That's probably the only thing that I'd be like, a small kettle and a sachet perhaps would be great. But you know, 3-star hotels can't have everything. I'm just very happy. There was no noise, it was air conditioned, and I just went right to sleep. And that's what I was paying for. So I check out at 11 a.m. and my ferry isn't until 2 p.m. But I'm gonna try and get there about 90 minutes before, just so that I know that I can check in and make sure I know where I'm going. Nothing worse than feeling like I'm gonna miss something, especially when it's travel related. Just noticed the art piece on the background up here. Can you see it? Let's see if we can grab you. It's incredibly pixabay, but you know what? Fits the vibe of the room. A torrential ocean and wood, perhaps? So far my adventure to Santander has consisted of essentially 2 roads, my hotel road and the road that I've parked on. I'm gonna see if I can perhaps go to a local cafe or perhaps something, a little something. I need a little something to pick me up, to wake my brain up, so that I can cope with going to border control and things like that. Right, time for me to put all my things in my bag, I think. I don't know how it happened, but in all the excitement of checking out and driving to the port, I forgot to pick up breakfast or a coffee. And I only remembered when waiting in the boarding line thinking, what am I missing? And so a coffee at this point would have been absolutely ideal. Luckily, the port was only a 6-minute drive from my hotel, so that meant I didn't miss anything at all. Check-in was an absolute breeze. I explained to the border control that I've not done this before and I didn't quite know what to expect, so she told me that I needed to hang up this little doily thing that showed that I was parking and I did not have a pet, and she also handed me my boarding pass, which is also my room key. So the weather in Santander feels a little bit different to Malaga. The heat here is a lot more humid and it started to get so stuffy in my car.
I feel well rested and ready for my 30-hour boat trip, which I'm cautious about because, you know, could go either way, couldn't it, really? I think that is my ferry. Over there, next to this man on the phone. I think that is the ferry. I haven't actually gotten on a ferry with a car in my, like, adult life, I don't think. Luckily, I have some water from last night, though, so I am perfectly fine until boarding. We might, in fact, start boarding soon. There are some cars that are driving past now, so I guess it must be almost, if not time, for boarding. I can't wait to sit in my cabin and watch the ocean go by. Oh, there goes one. Oh. The little Garda Seville dog had a little sniff at my car, and I was like, oh, I wonder if he'll smell biscuit, and will that give a false positive on me being some sort of, like, drug baron? But no, thank goodness for that. That didn't happen. He was a very sweet dog. He was like a young chocolate-coloured Labrador. He's at his little job. He's at his work. I am cabin 932 on deck 9. How many decks are there and how many cabins are there? I've got no idea, so I guess we will have to wait and see.
The bins!
This is the Brittany Ferry's standard cabin for my overnight trip, and it sleeps 4 people and it has an ensuite, which is great. This room was £99 on top of the ticket fare of £349. Oh, tripped. Cute little bathroom. Very sweet. I will be having a lovely shower later because I am very hot. Cute. Can do some glam. You join me here in my cabin del Luxeria, if you like, in front of my fake window, which I didn't realise when I booked it online. Otherwise, I would have perhaps booked something with a real outdoor view. That's kind of the only downside to my room, but it is a very basic room to stay in for my needs, which is just to get from Santander to Portsmouth. There's something about ferry culture that's really unexpected to me. The amount of people that have camper vans and trailer caravans, and they all seem to be of a certain age demographic. And I do wonder if we are losing that sense of adventure as a British culture. I do wonder if that's fading out slightly. And I'm kind of in that too, because I would rather stay in a lovely hotel or even stay with friends in a different country in order to really explore and understand the world more. There is something quite exciting though about the idea of having a little base that you just travel with, and you can kind of live in that little base and go all across Europe in that little base. I quite like that idea. You have just seen me eat dinner, well, actually, a luncheon with a lovely display of how to wear a life jacket, which is actually very important because I haven't been on a boat in such a long time. I didn't realise that life jackets have kind of changed. They don't really look like the way that I remember them to. The food that I ate was kind of good. I can't tell if it's good because I haven't eaten anything hot for a while, or if it was good because it was good. I've had a little explore so far of the ship, and I'm actually quite impressed. It doesn't seem that big, but in the queues for people to park in the ferry, board the ferry? Park? Do you say park in the ferry? Park in the ferry. I just assumed that it would be really busy, but it isn't. Everywhere I look, there are still spaces to sit. There's still people just casually enjoying the trip from Santander to Portsmouth. The views outside the window and from the top deck have been spectacular so far. My approach to photography has changed quite a lot in recent years. It used to be purely landscape, but I'm actually falling in love with street photography and also social media photography, which I feel like is a very specific kind of photography. It's almost documentary photography, but with space in it, like negative space within it, so that you can either write captions, tell a story, or do something to add to the image before you upload it. And I think I've already taken one of my favourite pictures from this little girly trip to the UK, and it's this one. I was sitting having my lunch. I just looked over and there was a guy drinking a beer, and he just finished his dinner and he like slumped back, and it looks like the table is empty in this picture, but it's not. Just the way that the light was capturing through the image in contrast with the shadow of the wall and just the vivid red tone of the seat. I don't know, I just looked across and I was like, that is gorgeous. What a lovely little frame that is. For me, this picture is a great example of that because I can put that directly on my Instagram stories and it has space either side to actually write about what I want to experience, what I'm doing, tag the brand, tag Brittany Ferries. And that's an approach to photography that I'm trying to expand on in my life. Almost creating scenes that I can add to later to give more context of where I am. It's an interesting way of approaching it because I never had to do that before. But I'm now going to wait for the sun to set just a little bit, and then I'm going to go out and do another little tour of the boat and show you guys what's available on board. The duty-free was actually quite extensive. Somehow I'd managed not to bring my AirPods for this adventure in the slightest, and I just will not be raw dogging my flight back to Malaga in a few days. But sadly, there were no AirPods to purchase, although I'm not surprised, realistically. It is quite standard as the duty-free goes, but there's a lot in there. There's loads of specific types of chocolate, there's loads of alcohol, cuddly toys, loads of perfumes, and also lots of skincare gifts. I picked up these giant bars of chocolate as gifts for friends in the UK, and Lindt is one of my favourites, and who doesn't love a chunky 90s style Toblerone? I am just getting ready for dinner. I don't know why I feel the need to almost dress up a little bit. It's kind of strange because
This kind of feels a little bit like a mini cruise because it's 30 hours. I associate ferry rides with like just a few hours at a time, like 4 to 5 hours or something. You might notice I'm swaying quite a lot. It feels like we've hit some, not rough seas, that's a very big exaggeration. It feels like we've hit some bigger waves, should we say. And we're in the Bay of Biscay at the moment. And I can feel it. I can feel that the waves are stronger and bigger because I feel like I'm going like this all the time. It's quite relaxing though in a strange way. I imagine I will get a very good night's sleep tonight. So earlier I booked a restaurant called the Azul restaurant, mainly because it looked like it had some decent options. If you watched me for a long time, you'll know that I'm pescatarian, and there is a salmon and celeriac option. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna try that out. I think it's gonna be, I'm not sure. I don't know. I hope it's good. Oh, problem is, I could only book it for 7:45 and I would usually eat maybe at like 8:30. It's kind of early. 7:45 is a little bit early for dinner for me, so I'm a little bit like, oh, right, okay, I'm not hungry just yet, but I'm gonna be hungry soon. So I might as well eat so I don't feel hungry later and don't have to go to the vending machines. But am I gonna wanna eat it all because I'm already a bit like full still from lunch? I don't know. But yes, the look today, the glam today is very basic. But you know what? Get ready with me on my boat. Do you remember when that was a big thing? People would be like, get ready with me in my supercar. Get ready with me in my hot air balloon. Get ready with me on my Brittany ferry. How about that? I'm hoping that because it's just me at one table by myself, I'm hoping I can get a window seat so I can get some beautiful views over the water. That'd be nice. Dinner for one, romantic dinner for one, that would be ideal. The outfit of the day is a black vest, skinny jeans, and a between seasons jacket. And I decided to do a braid because my hair is looking a little bit ropey. I hoped they would have some conditioner in the rooms, or at least conditioner on board, but it looks like I'm gonna have to wash my hair tomorrow night. Which is fine, but still. Right, let's go to dinner. For dinner, I booked myself at the Azul restaurant, but I did make a massive faux pas because I somehow forgot the time difference and everything on the boat is done in UK time. So I arrived an hour early, but the staff were really good and they organised a table for me right away and at the bow of the ship with a stunning view, might I say. Dinner and a show, if you will. The salmon and celeriac dish was so much more fancy than I thought. It had edible flowers, it was covered in chives, and it also had some like roasted bok choy with it. It was actually genuinely delicious. I finished the entire plate. I decided to order the main and dessert, and whenever I see profiteroles on the menu, I will always pick them. Although, I must say, these were mid. They were kind of like a deconstructed idea, so the cream was on the outside, and the ice cream was nice and sweet, but it was covered in this dark chocolate sauce, which was really bitter, and there was so much of it that it kind of overpowered everything. So, in future, hi Brittany Ferries, if you're watching, please put milk chocolate sauce on instead. Or at least the option. Thank you. At around 11 PM, I decided to take an evening stroll around the ferry, and not a single person was out and about. It was the most bizarre and liminal experience. It was almost like it was a ghost ship or something. I took my Fujifilm XH2 and I decided to capture some images and videos of this because I might never get the chance to again. I think it made for some beautifully eerie photos. A ferry is one of those strange ephemeral spaces. A space that's only function is to serve as a space for people to pass through. So when these places are unused, they're almost without meaning. And a place without meaning feels quite unsettling. Good morning. That was an interesting night of sleep. Yeah, we hit some rough seas around 3 a.m. and I woke up like, convinced that we were going to capsize. So that was fun. It meant that I couldn't really get back to sleep. I was swaying all over the place. Very interrupted sleep last night, but I guess that is just one of the risks of ferry life. But I now need to get glam and find some coffee. Also, my phone is popping off.
Good morning. We will be getting started with our entertainment in around 15 minutes time with your morning stretch on deck 9.
You chose if you pay in pounds or euros. Oh, yes, this is your receipt. Okay, thank you. Nice. I will take that one.
Good morning. We hope you have a nice night.
As a side note, if you ever have a shower on a boat, it is exactly what going to bed drunk feels like. Welcome to the second day of my sea voyage. There's something very 1900s about spending 30 hours at sea, especially if your boat has a little bit of a sort of vintage feel about it. I kind of think it's a bit like IKEA does the Titanic.
It's been 84 years.
The staff, however, have been great. They've been so helpful and so attentive, and they are proficient in Spanish, English, and French, which, you know, makes me actually quite jealous. After my sadly quite vile cookie at breakfast, I went for another walk around the ship. There was a cinema on board, but the Wicked screenings started earlier than I was willing to be conscious. At this point, I still had many hours left on the boat, so I managed to plot up a little space next to a window and just get started on editing this video. And also some of the photos of petrol stations. I can tell you, I have absolutely had worse desks than this. What I've come to realise whilst looking through these petrol station images is that they have such a unique aesthetic about them. They're almost kind of neon brutalist, with strong and bold lines and basic colour schemes that are quite often in complete contrast to their surroundings. There was also a little dog out on the pet deck having a little sprinkles break. At one point, however, I was craving another coffee and I decided to try and find the vending machine. And I had somehow convinced myself that a hazelnut cappuccino would invigorate me. And I was actually correct. It was the best experience I've ever had. And the crisps were also great. €3 well spent. Suddenly, La Taberna, the onboard diner, had opened, so I swiftly gathered my things to snatch a window table because, my goodness, you'd think they were made of solid gold with how fast they get snatched up. When I ordered my lunch, however, I didn't realise my pesto toasty would have 17 entire tomatoes in it. I don't even like tomatoes. But it was surprisingly still enjoyable, and it was probably made so more because of the hateful cookie in the morning. I also ordered another cappuccino and a Pepsi Max, and I have to tell you, it tastes so good. Pepsi Max in the EU tastes different, and no, not for me. Altogether, this was €15. As I was overlooking the side, I realised that there's something so bizarre about feeling entirely safe and comfortable on one side of this glass, but if I had been magically teleported 1 meter outside, I'd be the most panic-stricken creature on the planet, falling to a drowny, dreary death. So that was an interesting, intrusive thought that I had. After all this pondering, I went back to my room to rest, and before long, it was time to get ready to disembark. 30 hours on a ferry is actually a long time. Unfortunately, the internet on this ferry isn't great. I didn't expect it to be great, but I also didn't expect it to be like 460 kilobytes per second. Thought it might be, you know, at least 4G perhaps, but sadly, no. I think it is about an hour until I disembark now, and I'm just like, I'm all packed, I'm all ready to go. Just give me the little tannoy noise and I'll be like, right, pack my bag, grab my bag, let's get in the car and let's go. Because I am going to Bournemouth tonight. I'm going to pay an impromptu visit to some dear friends of mine, and we're going to have some hot tub time. We're going to have, that sounds a bit dramatic, doesn't it, hot tub time? We're going to have some hot tub time. We're going to order some nice food. I'm going to have a catch up with friends that I haven't seen for months at this point. And I'm really looking forward to it. But my goodness, I need some like fresh air, and I need to stretch my legs properly and not feel like this.
I am back in the car, ready to continue my journey. I'd happily do a ferry like this again though. 100%. As I say, more like a mini cruise than a ferry. New experiences and all that. That's what travel's all about.
Unfortunately, due to Brexit, the queue at border control took about 35 minutes to complete. Although the ferry arrived at about 8 PM, it took another hour or so to disembark and get on the road. And with a 90-minute drive to Bournemouth ahead of me, it was already quite late. I don't have any video content except this glorious hot tub footage of me catching up with Nova and Olympia of YouTube Novimpia fame.
Oh, wow. Wasn't there egg on my tits?
I can, however, inform you that they both loved their Lindt duty-free chocolate gifts, and then we ordered Chinese food and it was straight to bed for me on my 3rd day of travel. And I also really missed Biscuit.
Everywhere. It's basically 3 layers of this kind of like dense and chewy almond cake smushed together, covered in chocolate. It's so good. I love them so much, and it always is like the best thing in the bakery. Like all the cookies are like not my favorite cookies, but that cookie is the best one I'm going.
This restaurant gives you a discount if you steal.
It is a beautiful day here in Bournemouth. Now I begin my drive all the way to Brighton, feeling refreshed, hot tubbed. It's so important to see friends when you get the time, because in my mind I was like, oh, I'm going to be so tired after my travels. Like, is it going to be worth it? 100% worth it. 100% worth it. If you have good friends in your life, make sure you make time for them.
My 4th and final day of travel was a 2.5-hour drive to Brighton from Bournemouth, and the difference from Spanish roads to the UK roads is quite stark. I felt like every single motorway section was being upgraded, leading to additional delays. But the sun was shining and my mood was great, so the drive through the English countryside was beautiful. As soon as I arrived at my dad's house, he wanted to have a long catch-up in the garden, learning all about my new life in Spain, but mostly asking questions about how much fun Biscuit is having. I also finally got a chance to pick up my Lumix S9, which had been at my dad's house for a while as there was a really good deal only available in the UK, and I knew I was eventually coming back, so I picked it up. And so far, with a little play with it, I am super excited to add this to the collection. My dad takes a lot of pride in his garden, and every time I visit, I find out he has planted many more new flowers. Later that evening, I picked up Rolly, and we went for a lovely drive to a great spot for dinner. Now, unfortunately, the name of the pub is also a slur for lesbians, and YouTube does not like that. So, if you're from the UK, and if you're familiar with Brighton, you'll know where I mean.
Hello.
It's Mr. Globbins.
It's Mr. Globbins. Are you interested in my hard drive? Please don't eat that. Hello, you're very close. Hello. Hello. And
I think he's fully grown now.
He's quite big as well, isn't he? Lingo. Oh, little face.
I also appear to have done a UK cat tour. On my last day, my dad took me to Eastbourne, and we basically just spent the day together enjoying a small cafe luncheon, and I tested out the Lumix S9. I do need so much more time with the device before I decide if it's for me, but so far so good.
It's quite a nice coffee, actually. They're good.
In Eastbourne, there's also this large warehouse kind of shop called ESK. It says it's a garden centre, but honestly it has a bit of everything. It's almost like the middle of Lidl meets HomeSense. And they do some of Biscuit's favourite toys, so I had to get him this hateful little seagull.
Sad little animal. His toast! Do you remember that? He loved his toast.
Oh, yeah.
And another one of his OG favourites, this happy piece of toast. But before long, it was time to say goodbye to my car. The first ever car that I paid for by myself. And I'm so thankful for her. She got us to Spain and back twice. And I'm really gonna miss her. My flight back was really easy, and I would happily fly with British Airways again. Even the free snacks were nice. But nothing says home to me more than seeing little Biscuit. Thank you for joining me on this very long but enjoyable solo journey. When I had this upcoming, I was a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of solo travel and responsibility I was going to have to do, but I've proven to myself that I can do it. If you've loved this video, please consider buying me a coffee. There's no commitment and it helps keep the channel going, and the link is in the description below. Thank you for all of your support. Let me know what your favourite picture is in the comments, and I will see you soon.